do marketing and promotions for a living. Now I do it like maybe once or twice a year, and I think this was my last one. I think I'm done with marketing and promotions with doing long hours. So I worked um, an 8 hour day, and then the next day worked a 11-hour day. So my back is hurting, my feet is hurting. I'm just done. But of course, if you know anything about pride events, it's the LGBTQ. You know, they're celebrating being, or practicing the lifestyle that they have. And so I was listening to the 14th Street Israel preachers, or whatever they call themselves, Israelites. They were talking about how God hates homosexuals. Now, then they reference Sodom and Gomorrah, and what God did to Sodom and Gomorrah, which are actually two cities. God did destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, but He didn't destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because there was homosexuality going on in there. It could have been straight people doing whatever they were doing. God destroyed the city because it was godlessness, period. They were godless, and then, nobody wanted to do what the Lord said. You look all through the Bible, God does this destroy them. He sent two bears to kill 40 children, destroy them. So you could be, straight and be getting it on. But nonetheless, back to the LGBT. And so I don't believe that God hates the LGBTQ. I think He just hates sin. And anyone who practices open practice. I'm gonna do it regardless of what the word says. Open practice, and then I'm gonna encourage other people to do it. You know what I'm saying? Now, homosexuality is always gonna be a tough topic, but not only because of the practice that has, a lot of countries have banned and outlawed. Now some countries are, releasing that ban, especially those in Africa. I think in Nigeria, it's actually outlawed. So it's not banned. It's you do it, you're in trouble. You're going to jail. And if you look also in the scriptures, you'll see that when people practice homosexuality during the Old Testament, this before Christ came, those people were actually stoned to death. Now, there's a lot of crimes that people stoned you to death for. So, you know, once again, this is not saying if you just do this, that only constitutes stoning. No, but if you did do that, that constitutes stoning. Heck, all the way up until, when early America, was being built, if you stole a horse, you can get shot and killed for that. You steal a horse, you're dead. You know what I'm saying? And that law still exists today here in America. A horse thief is like a big thing. Just like in some parts of Europe, a bicycle thief, it goes down bad for you. So there are crimes that we think don't fit the bill of the punishment. If you're a witch, you get burned at the stake. That type of goofy, just scenario, just like, wait, what? How do you know if they're a witch? And now we have, people openly practicing being witches. But for the LGBT community, when I was working yesterday, I decided I don't want to work at a pride event anymore. Not unless I really had to. I like interesting people. This is true. And I'm gonna tell you the biggest thing I actually liked about it. Those are the happiest people on the planet. If you left them alone and you're not trying to save their soul or, judge them or not. Those people, not one fight, not one argument, except some lady came up to me and was upset because, you know, I called her and her husband ladies when the dude clearly looked like a woman. She's like, "That's my husband." Because I was like, "Hey, I don't know who's who anymore down here. I'm sorry, I don't know who's who." And I told her to move on about her way because you don't know what's what. But I like the fact that, like at a black event that big, you better believe there's going to be a fight. Somebody's going to be hating on somebody somewhere. Something's going to get stolen. It just is what it is. LGBTQ event, none of that. Probably doesn't even enter in those people's mind. They're the happiest people on the planet. What I don't like about it is, of course, I'm a man who believes in the Lord, Yeshua the Christ, Jesus the Christ. I believe in His Word, and I believe that hell is a real place. Now, even if that was all to the side, I do not believe a man being with another man is right. I think it's morally wrong. So if I took my you know service to God or my love for the Lord out of it, just a man being with a man is just wrong. But once again, the problem with the LGBTQ community is a lot of friction doesn't necessarily come from people thinking what you're doing is wrong. You know what it comes from? It comes from the LGBTQ community pushing their agenda on you. Anytime you try to make somebody do something that's against their will in some kind of way, you're going to have a lot of pushback. And that's just it. Putting your practice of your sexuality and your belief in someone's face and trying to convince them that what you're doing is right, you're going to get a lot of friction. We can't do what we want. We must succumb to the word of God or we're in trouble. Look at something I'm not supposed to and the Holy Ghost grieves me. He's telling me don't do it. So this is not a, when I say I don't want to work down there anymore, it's one because I feel bad when I clearly see that I don't like there's so it gets bigger and bigger. The Pride event gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the celebration gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it does bother me to think that so many souls could be lost or are lost, you know, if we don't listen to the word of God. It just bothers me. It just bothers me. Now the last Pride event I didn't work. The last Pride event I actually went downtown and was holding a Jesus Save sign. Now listen, I'm no angel. I still look at, I like the ladies. You know what I'm saying? I still, got fantasies about some women I used to date. I wish they were still here. But it was wrong. The Lord was like, you got to stop. Gave me a dream about this one chick. He was like, you got to stop messing with her. I was like, can I marry her? And he's like, no. Oh my goodness, boy. Whew. I saw her a couple months ago. Man. But the Lord's like, nah, you got to cut it out. Lord. That was a hard one for me. But, you know, she's, gone and doing whatever she does with whoever. And I've had some knockout women in my life, man, that they were a headache, but they look good. They look so good. I've had some really beautiful women in my life, but they weren't marriage right for me. So gotta let that go. Being a man, I'm not exactly old and decrepit. I still got my desires. I still think about those women and the years I spent, wasting time with them. So you get flashbacks. The devil always wants you to go back to what you were doing, but I'm not. I'm not going back to the clubs. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not going back out here to hunt for these goofy women. I get it. They're not marriageable. It's not what they want to do. So, like I said, straight people are in trouble too. But so God deals with me on my level, just like everybody else's level. But the difference between me and people who openly, they celebrate this homosexual act to the point that let me put this in a biblical reference. The Pharaoh heart was so hardened against God that he could not. It was impossible for him to change his mind. Now the scripture talks about committing sin because it hardens your heart. It blinds you. Sin blinds you. And it also talks about God turning you over to what you lust in. So if it's a job or thing, person, and God keeps telling you no, eventually he gives it to you. He turns you over to it. And when he does, your heart desires it so much that God allows you to desire it and it takes over your will. And you've seen it before. We've seen people who lusted after something so bad. You see people in sports do it all the time. They want to be the strongest, the fastest. They start injecting themselves. They start, they want that money. They need that big contract. You see people, with fake muscles. You see people using drugs all the time. And people, changing their whole face, changing their body to be something that those are people who lust after something that they're not supposed to have. They lust after it. And God turns them over to their own heart. He's like, fine, knock yourself out. It's so hard to come back from that. Now, some people regret it. Some people regret it, like these women getting injections into their behinds. And then, it looks all good at first. And then, the stuff that they're putting in them starts uh, killing them because you're not supposed to put caulking and glue and all these poisonous things inside your bloodstream. And that's exactly what happens. It gets inside your bloodstream, and once it does, your heart and lungs and your organs just start shutting down. And so then you have, some woman or man who has passed on because of what they lusted after. This is why the example of the Pharaoh is there, because you have to be careful what you lust after, because you'll eventually get it. A lot of things you lust after are very attainable. A lot of them, you know. And the thing about lust is, a lot of times you lust after something that is within your grasp in some kind of way. Um, Sometimes you just fantasize about certain things or certain people. People fantasize about these, famous singers and actors and actresses and all that. They know that's not attainable. They fantasize about it, so they're not going to fix up themselves to go and get a hold of these people because they know it's just not going to happen. If they get anywhere near these people and they have some kind of reaction that's negative, you end up getting tackled and things along that line. But nonetheless, if you when you lust after something, it's usually attainable. You know, it could be just like I said, an automobile, a job. It could be a trip to somewhere if you're not supposed to go there. and you go, you could be out of the will of God, just like that, just like that. You know, you earned your, you made all this money. You're like, I'm going to Fiji, or I'm going to wherever. You going to Bangkok. You land there. Next thing you know, you get caught up. You know, we've seen this happen before. We've seen what Lamar Odom saw him get caught up in a whole life that wasn't his, but he couldn't help himself. He went from being the sixth man, getting awarded in the NBA, to being in a wherever that was, in a whorehouse, and then end up almost dead. He almost died. So you have that example. I don't know what this is, but you guys know where I'm getting at. You have to be careful. I think I'm gonna have to move because the engine sound is a little too much. But so the LGBTQ community, the way I'm looking at it is, okay, he's leaving. Okay, so here's another reason why it's kind of personal to me. I had two friends who were gay. Neither one of them are gay anymore. One of them is married to a woman. I don't know if he's gay, but I know his wife is cute. They look like a perfect couple. So if he's still gay, running around with her, bro, I, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She's smart. She's a business owner. She is on time. Like this chick is. She has her ducks in a row. Now, of course, there's a flaw in her somewhere, but come on, man. It's like if God sent you that, and you're still lusting after men, bro, I don't know what to tell you. Like, because I used to be on him. I used to be like, bro, cut that out. I used to try to, get him some women, because back then I had a flock of seagulls. I'd be like, I'd introduce him to some of my chicks. So and so. He'd be looking at her like, I'd be like, bro, how can you look at this beautiful 25-year-old? She ran track, body like no kids. She still ain't got no kids. She's 50 now. I mean, she was just smoking. Legs on this chick, and that don't move you? Look at the. Like, I was displaying this girl in front of him, like, look at this. Come here, girl. Look at her. Nothing. Done nothing for him. I just couldn't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because, whoo, my goodness, she's smoking, boy. First time I saw her, I was like, oh man, I gotta be a part of that movie. I gotta get in on that action right there. She was smoking. I dated that girl for like 4 or 5 years, off and on. Them legs, boy, them legs got me. I was like, bro, I don't see how you can look at this fine. And the longer I dated her, the finer she got. She was so fine that dudes will walk up to me and be like, yo, your girl is fine. Like, for one, that's not my girl, but thank you. Like, when a dude walks up to you and respects the beauty, the vision that he sees from the woman you're walking to, you know she's fine. That's exactly what happened. It was like, oh, she's fine. I was like, yeah. But oh my goodness, boy, the longer I dated her, the better looking she got. Then when I stopped dating her, she got fat. She got married though. She got married to some dude. But nonetheless, the moral of the story is, bro, didn't it wasn't him. He's like, nah, I like men. I was like, wow. Hey, what's going on? So I couldn't convince this dude to, deal with a female. Then eventually, I moved, he moved. Then I ain't see him for a while. Then I saw him on Facebook and was like, yo, how you doing? He was like, I'm getting married. Showed me a picture of his, his fiance, now his wife. I was like, boy, you did good. I was like, you did good. I was like, big ups. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just poised, beautiful woman. I was like, big ups. So he got married. I don't know if he's still gay. That's not my, I ain't even asking. But I was thanking the Lord that he found himself a queen, you know. Beautiful sister, beautiful. And the other dude, that was my friend when I was homeless. This guy, took me in for about a month because he worked at the welfare uh, place. And I was pretty much homeless. He was like, yo, like when he saw me, he, for one, we're both musicians. So we just got to chatting it up while he was registering me for, welfare. And I told him my situation. That's usually what happens. The people who register you, they're asking you questions. You tell them your situation. I told him my situation. He was like, yo, just crash on my couch. So I never forgot that. Like, I never looked at this dude like, you gay and never. I end up, shoot, I almost dated his mom for a minute. Mom was super cute. His sister's like 6 feet. I'm like, so I knew his family. And, I lived with him for about a month, and then I moved in with some chick. And then after that, I just kind of, I moved on campus for a minute, and then eventually I met another woman, moved in with her. Then I got my own spot. But nonetheless, I stayed in contact with him, and I would always tell him the same thing, like, "Yo, let's go out and get some chicks." But I knew he was gay. He told me, he's like, "Yeah, I'm gay." I'm like, "Let's go get like this wasn't a flaming gay dude. This was a guy who just like, you know what I mean? That's what they did. It's nothing like having your own. Yeah, it's not like having your own spot. And eventually, I got my own spot, and I'm cool. Because, women that kick you out when they're tired of you, or just because they have control. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Now, the last chick I left, she didn't kick me out of the house. I left her because she didn't want to act right. She wanted to screw around on me, and she wanted to screw around on me, and I got tired of getting my heart broke. So and I told her, I said, you better cut that out. I'm Tone. I don't know if you, I don't know, I don't know if you looked around and noticed that, I go to work in the suit and tie. You know what I'm saying? Downtown. Like, you're the one who's taking my phone calls for the temporary jobs that I'm signing up for. What do you think is going to happen when I start talking to these females? And I told her, I said, you better stop that. I mean, I got hit on right in front of her. This chick was on me, like right here in front of my face, right in front of her. But I'm a very respectful man. If I'm with a woman and I'm with you, then I'm with you. I don't care who walks up to me. Then I'm yours. You know what I'm saying? This chick cute too, rolled right up on me, and I didn't entertain her. I told her, I said, it's my woman. Right? She did not care. She was like, let's go. I was like, nah, I'm good. But nonetheless, so my other friend, you know, he would travel a lot because he was a great musician. And every time I see his sister, I'd be like, "How's old dude doing?" She'd be like, "He's doing good. He's doing good." And every now and then he'd come back to Columbus, like we all do, because Columbus, you can pick up a job like this in Columbus. So you can come here hang out with your family, work a temporary job for about 3 or 4 months, get your money together, go back to wherever you're doing, and try to get your music career, your acting, or whatever it is. And a lot of people do that. I know a lot of people from here use Columbus as a hub because we're so close to a lot of places. Uh, and like I said, and the cost of living here is cheap, and the unemployment rate is down. So Columbus is a great place to do that. Nonetheless, so one time he went to, yes, that is exactly what so many do. Yeah, Columbus is a good place for that. There's not a lot of struggling people. We don't have a high homeless population here. We have a homeless population, but it's not a skyrocketing. We don't. I mean, it goes up all the time, but it's not like San Francisco or what I'm saying. So, but nonetheless, uh, so he would go down to Atlanta, and one day he came back, and I saw him, and he was a chubby dude when I first met him. So this is like 3 or 4 years later, and I saw him, and he looked like a pencil. He still was, what I'm saying. He was dapper, but he was so thin. It looked like he lost. It looked like he lost 30 pounds. He shouldn't have. If he would have lost like 25 pounds, he, if he, I was like, okay, you looking right, all right, big dog. But he lost like 60. He started to look emaciated. He looked model thin, and when you go past model thin, it starts to get bad. You know, I hardly recognized him. But he was like, "What's up?" It's like, bro. It's like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "Hey, how you been?" And he always liked to tell me about his travels. And then he was like, "Been to Atlanta." I was like, "How's the music down there?" He's like, telling me what he didn't like about Atlanta and how those people down there will just give you the runaround and capping and everybody somebody they not, all this. No, 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 brother. When you look at your friend who you've known for years, you love that person. You you love that person. You respect that person. You live with that person. You know that person's family. This is not some casual. You know what I'm saying? When you know somebody, you listen to their problems. You know their problems. Their problem was your problem. At some point, their dreams are your dreams. Like this is the homie. It's different because even if y'all not running together, doing, trying to do a project together or whatever and around each other all the time, y'all still homies, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know each other. And when you look at your homie one day and something ain't right and it's visible and you're not like, yeah, this is a good something ain't right. This is a bad. Nah. And I looked at him and I kind of figured, I was like, something's not right here. But I was so happy to see him. Just a great musician, a great singer. When I started talking to him about the ATL, it's like a light went out of his eyes, man. He told me he'd been exposed. Now, he had told me, yes, yes, you know what I'm saying? Now, he had told me when we had first met that he'd been exposed to the life, is what they called it. And I knew what it was. And I also knew that, uh, um, Like I knew what he was doing, but it wasn't a bunch of people coming at him 24/7. I just knew what he preferred. You know what I'm saying? And I told him, I'm straight, so I don't, I'm not involved in any of that. But I talked to him about, his situation. He was like, when I was younger, this, that, and the third. It wasn't a tragic story or nothing. He just started going in that direction. He's like, this is what I became interested in. And then you have other people who are interested in what you're interested in. And then that's how that, became, when he was younger. And his mom loves him. Everybody, his sister, everybody's accepted what he was doing. But he wasn't one of those dudes who was out there like real wild, flaming high shoes and this is what I am. You better love me. He looked like a regular dude. He just looked like a normal, regular, just a really cool dude. I mean, he walked a little, like a little bit, but it wasn't so obvious. So I didn't assume that when I saw him. I just thought he was a great guy, and he was. But when he came back from Atlanta, man, and he told me all that was going on, and the way he looked, I knew it was lights out. And I never saw him again. And then about a year later, I was actually going to court. I was I was going to court over some, goofy. Matter of fact, the same goofy girl with the beautiful legs. I was going to court, and me and my other chick was in getting something to eat, and one of his friends saw us and was like, "Yo, ain't you so and so's friend?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "We just buried him yesterday." Now to say that that still doesn't hurt me today would be a lie. Would be a lie. Somebody comes up to you and tells you that they just buried your friend. You know what I'm saying? Especially while you going through something. They just buried him. The first time he told me he was exposed, he meant he was exposed to the life. Yeah, man, this happened in 2006. Thank you. But this is why when I talk about the LGBT community, I don't have a hate for those people. And when somebody says, well, God hates those people, I don't agree with that whatsoever. God hates the practice. Now, there are some people that God hate, but God hates practicing. He hates the open commitment to do what he does not want you to do. He hates that. God hates sin. Me being somebody who loves God could never look at my homie and be like, I hate, never, never. My reaction, because, I know the word, he knows the word, he was into the gospel. My reaction to them, because of the, my love for Christ, was take them out to meet women. It wasn't beat them down. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, little Jay? How you doing today, man? Huh? You wanna check the apples? Yeah, man. We could check the apples. Hold on. You gonna go get it? Go get it. Bring the water too. The neighbor's kid. Yeah, yeah. Bring the water. All right, give me the water, and grab the pot with both hands. You reach it? Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, come in. Sit down over here.
Look at all the seeds we planted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I put some more seeds in there, big dog.
Why?
Because sometimes the seeds that you put in there won't grow. So you want to water it. You want to water it? All right. Here's some water. And let me see. You gonna do the watering now? I'm gonna make this your. This gonna be your project.
Guess what?
What happened?
So now it's bumping these together.
No, I thought we'll talk about that later. You want to water your plant, right? Open it up. Can you open it? Yeah. You got it? Okay. Now it rained yesterday, so it might not need as much water. All right, now you got to pour a little bit of water, but you got to pour it
No,
before.
no, it does need water because look, see that little roof right
Oh,
there?
yeah, so the water didn't get it? Man, see, you are smart. All right, so when you pour the water, hold on now. When you pour the water, got to pour a little bit of it. Like, don't pour a whole bunch like, and it all come out. You got to pour it like this. See that? Yeah, take your time. Pour a little. Yeah, pour it like that. If you do, you're gonna put too much water in there, and you don't want to do that. And when you pour it, when you here, do it over here.
Hmm?
Put the thing over here. Yeah, do it over here. All right, there. Now when you pour it, you gotta pour it around like that. Not a whole bunch.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't want to kill the seeds with too much water. Yeah. Now pour some there. Now pour some over there. There you go. Now pour some over here. Planting seeds. I like your hair.
She always,
Yeah, yeah. You got to pour some right
she
there.
always has some near.
Yeah, yeah, your mom's. Oh, now see, that's okay though. That's okay, but that's enough water. So we'll pour some more in there next week. All right, now put the lid back on the water. Where the lid go? Put the lid back on the water. Make sure the lid's on there tight.
So you,
And put the water back where you got it from.
um, I'm sorry, Tony.
Go ahead. What happened?
My cat went in the backyard.
Your cat? I'm not worried about it. Cats go in backyards. Put the water back on the shelf. Yeah, put the water back on there first. Okay. Now put the plant back where you got it from.
Well, can birds peck you?
Birds are not interested in me. Put the plant up before you drop it. You be able to reach it? Yeah,
I
push
don't know.
and push it all the way back. There you go. Good job.
I don't know if you can.
Don't forget your cars.
The last time me and Ian were throwing rocks, sticks, and stones. But he was about to
Yeah, don't throw sticks at a squirrel, man.
why?
Cause they're cool.
They're not holding me.
Well, they're cool. Squirrels are cool, man. They're friendly. All right.
But you can't have a pet.
I wish I had a pet squirrel. Oh man,
I
I'm
can
sorry.
get right in the eyeball.
Don't do that again. My cousin was a WB in football. Oh, okay, and was a very solid dude. He got involved with the life. Yeah, the life, man. And he died 3.5 years. Yeah, man. So it eventually got up to old dude, and it just hurt me. I had talked about it before. Sorry, I had to take an intermission to cool neighbors. But yeah, so that's why when I look at the LGBTQ community, I don't look at them and scoff at them. I don't get down with people putting stuff in my face like you know because there are friendly people as far as that's concerned, and there are some people who are just those are the ones I don't like. The those LGBTQ people, I don't like them because they want to we're better than you and you better not tell me nothing. I'm just like, you people, you do what you want, just don't come over here and try to lord it over me that you like the same sex and I have to accept. I don't have to accept none of that, and I don't accept none of it. But my friends who were in that life, the only thing that I could, we talked about God, but I never understood street preachers standing there and yelling at people. And thus said the Lord. I always understood a conversation. If you're going to be a street preacher, talk to people. They walk up to you, share the word with them. Don't sit there and yell the word and think you did what God said, because you didn't. Because, Christ talked to people. That's what he did. He didn't just stand there and yell. Every time Christ talked to people, Sermon on the Mount, when he was on the boat in the water, people asked him questions and he answered them. That's what you're supposed to do. And, the couple guys that I knew that were in a life, well, I knew more people that were in a life, but those two were my friends. And my reaction to them, once, I found out what was going on with them, was always introduce them to women now, uh, which is kind of good and bad because, I was womanizing back then. But my whole philosophy is if you just got some, you just got a little from a woman, you might. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If you just tried, this flavor, it might change your mind. It might cater to your being a man, is what I was hoping. Like, let me see if I can introduce him to my homegirl sister and hopefully something to kick off. But it just doesn't work like that. Just like like if they introduced me to someone who was in life, I'm, it's the same thing. If you're not living that lifestyle, you're not going to accept it, no matter what, until you're like, okay. But if it's an unnatural, gross thing to you, you're just not going to accept it. But for the one friend who's still living and married, he realized that it is a natural thing uh, for him to love a woman, and now he loves a woman. You know what I'm saying? It's natural for him to do that, and you can talk to him all day about being with a woman. He'll talk to you. I don't know if he's consummated the marriage. That's not my business. I didn't even bother to ask him that stuff. But go with God. You know what I'm saying? That's just But he finally did what I was trying to get him to do, which was date a woman. Is the point? Date a woman. See how that goes. Because first he was like, nah, I like dating men. I was like, bro, date a woman. Like just was like, yo, just go out with one. Give one a hug. Because like this dude is like Billy D. Williams. The chicks are all over him. They used to give him, their house keys, car keys, money. He got fired for doing that. I was like, when you go down to this job, man, don't accept nothing from no woman. He did that. He accepted everything. They was all over him. He got fired a week later because he accepted stuff from him. Then I said, go down there and tell him what you really are. And he did it. He got fired. He's like, guess what? I got fired. I said, I told you from the beginning. You should have, whenever they came at you, you should have been like, I'm in the life. Sorry, ladies. You know, I'm 6'4", look like Billy D, got smooth Indian hair, dark skin, smart, all that, but I'm in life. He should have said that. Then none of them would have got caught up in their feelings. They'd have been like, dang. You know what I'm saying? But when you start accepting money and keys and cars, houses, they was like, come live with me. I was like, you're in trouble. You got fired a week later. So they went and told the manager and it was over. Those black women were heated because they thought they found a new date. You know what I'm saying? They thought somebody was going to marry up. That was that. So, but I can no longer work at the LGBTQ events and watch that because one, some of the stuff they did was just no. I'm not trying to look at a half-naked man. No, it just I'm not trying to see dudes walking around looking like Bruce Jenner, who to me is still Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner is still you're still Bruce Jenner. Look, me and Bruce Jenner will have to box. Because if I met Bruce Jenner, I'm not calling him Caitlyn, whatever. I'm like, you're Bruce. I grew up watching you run. Shoot, you're part of the reason why I got in the track. Nah, you Bruce to me. What you want to fight about it? Let's go. Let's go. You gonna fight like a man, though? what, you, what you think? What you think Bruce Jenner gonna fight like if he gets into it? You think he gonna fight like a woman or fight like a man? You know what I'm saying? He gonna fight like a man. He gonna come at you with all that strength, and it's gonna be lights out. So I'm like, yeah, you want to fight about it? Shoot, I might pick a fight with him. You're a man. Come back to us, Bruce. I might pick a fight with him. Shoot, had you on the Wheaties box. You know what I'm saying? Bro, you was on my Wheaties box. You was on my Wheaties box, Bruce. How you going to tell? You was on. You was one of the first dudes on Wheaties, Bruce. How you gonna roll up talk about you a female now? Bruce, you was on Wheaties. I can't. I can't. I'll be like, we gonna have to roll. Let's go, national TV. Let's fight. Let's fight. Let's go. After that, we could hit the track and, run a mile or something. You know what I'm saying? Get you right back into it. Huh? A little bit of pole vote. Let's go, Bruce. Let's go. Screw that. You Bruce to me. But there was people down there looking like Bruce Jenner, man. Look, I thought I actually saw a dude. I was like, is that Bruce Jenner? Like, seriously. It was real like that. But I couldn't, man. I couldn't. It just, some of this Hollywood stuff you see, some of the homies, some of the homies in the gang, they got them kissing other men. Like when The Rock kissed Kevin Hart, I was like, I never saw that movie. I never when I saw I was like, I'll never see this movie. I never. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've seen a Rock and a Kevin Hart movie since then. And I likes The Rock and I likes Kevin Hart because they make you feel like they the homies. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is Hollywood just taken away. The day I'll stop watching movies is the day Samuel L. Jackson wears a dress or kisses a man. That happens. Look, I might go to Hollywood and protest. I might. The day Samuel L. Shaft, Frozone, nah, no, you're not doing that to me. Y'all can have Kevin Spacey. We always knew he was weird, but Samuel L. Come on, man. Nah, y'all not getting Samuel L. Man. Y'all not getting Samuel L. They do it because they don't want to lose their money. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. They controlled. But I'm like, Sam, man, don't look into the light, bro. Don't look into the light, man. Like y'all can't have Samuel L, man. I'm not, nah. And look, Samuel L has done more movies than anyone else in history. Anyone. He is a target. Y'all can't have no. Nah. Y'all can't have Samuel L, man. That's the day I will stop watching movies. It'll be over. Denzel kissed the man. Did he? You notice I ain't say Denzel? Because I can see Denzel being turned over to the game. I can't see him being gay, but I can see him doing a role like that. Listen, Denzel is a ladies' man. Samuel L. Jackson is a man. Period. He's somebody that a man, inspires to be. And an ordinary man, too. This dude was a crackhead. Coming to America, when he played the crackhead, he was a crackhead. Samuel L. is the homie. Look, a crackhead. Listen, you don't get no more homie than that. You you were a crackhead in real life. Yeah, I made that first movie. I was a crackhead, and will tell you he was a crackhead. Y'all can't have Nick Fury, man. Y'all can't have Nick Fury. We not doing that. We not. Nick Fury kissing him? Nah. Denzel, yeah, he does a lot of female movies. Women been chasing him. That's where his money is. Women been chasing Denzel. That's his market. Samuel L. Jackson, he ain't the women ain't chasing that dude. He don't go to the box office and females are like, yeah, I gotta have some Samuel L. I'm like, nah, you don't hear that. Jungle Fever. He was in Jungle Fever, wasn't he? He didn't kiss no man though. Nah, y'all cannot have Samuel L. Well, yeah, so I don't have contention with the LGBT unless they're like the flaming ones that really try to get at you. I don't have contention with them. But this homosexuality thing is reaching far and wide, and it's covering all aspects. What up, Tone? Did you find out that yet? Nope, I didn't, but I look forward to today. The question is, did you find it? Because my last entry in our conversation about it was it would be easier if, like, you found a video, but the video's an hour, like an hour and 20 minutes long. Oh, he was a crackhead in Jungle Fever. Oh, okay. But he was also in Coming to America. He's the guy who robbed the McDougal's. But back to you, Ray. I said it would be easier if you found the segment where we bet. I saw you right on. If you can find it, yeah, it would be faster because yesterday I worked like a 12-hour shift, so I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't get at you at all yesterday. I worked from like 10:30 to almost 10 at night. So I was exhausted when I got home. I'm still tired. So it was kind of like get this dude some homework. If he can find the segment and then I can just go and click at the time that you put in and, listen to it and be like, okay, boom, I bet him. Then I ain't got no problem, you know what I'm saying? Getting you your 20. But, that didn't happen. So we're going to, I'm going to have to sit and try to, I'm going to have to down to, hold on. I saw you write it down too. Did you find? I didn't find. Look, I didn't find it. I wasn't looking for it. I listened to some of the video while I was at work, but I worked on my feet all day, so that just wasn't on my mind. You know what I'm saying? Now today I'll have a chance to look at it. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling today. My back is killing me. My feet killing me, but I'm chilling today. But you're the one making the claim. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for it, but you need to look for it too. You know what I'm saying? If you could find it on that video, I'll listen to the video because what's gonna happen is I'm gonna end up going live. I'm gonna end up hitting you up like I'm gonna go live here and we're gonna listen to this video because you're saying that I placed a bet with you. You know what I'm saying? You were first saying that you talked about it extensively. Talking about it extensively is one thing, but you're saying that I agreed to a bet. So we're gonna have to listen to it, or not unless you can find the segment. And then if I listen to it and it honestly, and I said, yeah, I'll bet you, I don't have no problem paying you 20. All of it, wrote it down. Yeah, and I didn't find it either. Look. I'm not trying to stiff you out of 20. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to stiff you out of 20, bro. That's not what I do. I paid 5 people. I paid one, two, three. I paid one, two, three, 4 people. Right after the game was the next day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to stiff nobody, especially a long time sub that makes no. You know, you didn't say it on a live. You wrote it down. I wrote it down. Then why? All right, I'm gonna have to. I have. I write it down on. Wait a minute. Okay, I wrote it down. I need to look at my stuff. My place is a mess right now. But why didn't you just say that in the beginning? Why are you directing me to a video that's an hour and a half? Like I need to go and listen to an hour and a half video to prove your point. Like why didn't you just say you wrote it down? I'll look at my stuff, man. I mean, this is gonna come to a close because I don't stiff nobody, but it's the principle. If I owe you, I owe you. If I don't, then I don't. You know what I'm saying? My car needs washed. But so yeah, it's the principle of it. It's not about beating somebody or ripping somebody off. But if I owe you, I owe you. You know what I'm saying? If I wrote it down, you know, because I think I bet you before, and I don't really have an issue with you personally. You're not somebody I think is a shyster or anything like that. But yeah, so I'll look at it, and this all come to a head today because I'm not gonna keep going through this. And if I need to settle up, I'll settle up. I don't have a problem with that. Cause I thought you forgot I was. You saw the 80 trade. Yeah, I saw the 80 trade. Trying to prove we had that talk. That all please check. No, that's one. Okay. Yeah, it'll all come to a close one day. At any rate, I need your email. Uh, so you need to leave it in one of the comments or something. Leave it in a regular comment. Don't leave it on the live. Because it takes the live a minute to register. So all the comments don't come through for like, I don't know, it's like a half an hour or whatever. So I don't want to be waiting to look, you know. Just leave it on something else that's already out. That way it'll just show up in front of my other videos and I can just click on it and see your email address and go ahead and finalize the deal. But I will look when I get upstairs, and $20 is $20, but $20 is $20. Shoot. I just went to the store and dropped like $50, and I still got to pay. I just got to pay my gas. Other than that, I did good. I made some money last week, and I made some money this weekend. So I'm going to the movies. Tone, can you see my black people leaving America in near future? Tone, can you see Minnie? I'm sorry, Minnie. Uh, Russell Huff. I mean, yes, yes. Black people are going to be forced to make a decision here soon. What do you think of Anthony David? Okay, you guys are on two different frequencies. All right, so okay, okay, Mr. Ant. I don't like killing y'all, but you're not gonna crawl down my shoes, bro. All right, so let's cover this first. Let's cover this first. Mr. Huff, I'm gonna cover you first because you've been chatting with me for a minute, and I'm gonna get to the AD. And, you know what? I want to do another live about the AD. So I'm gonna cover him because it's kind of within, I don't know. And then I'm gonna go live again in a few minutes. Um, I'm gonna go live again in a few minutes and cover the AD because there's gonna be a lot of other people who are gonna want to chat about that. And yeah, so Mr. Huff. Okay, so as far as black people leaving, I think that this is actually another subject too. This is actually another video, but nonetheless, I think that black people are going to be forced to leave because of the recent developments and past developments of what the police are doing. I think that fleeing this country is going to be, I think it's going to be highly recommended. But I've said this over in different videos that when we decide to flee the country in mass numbers, that's a huge economic drop for a lot of different entities. So, especially the prison system. So, what are they going to do? They're going to try to stop us from fleeing. Now, Donald Trump is going to be reelected. Let's just understand this. And with Donald Trump being reelected, he openly told the police that it's okay to treat criminals rougher. He openly said this in his election. He told the police, he said, they don't, you know, when you're putting them in the car and you're pushing their head down, don't be nice to them. So he's giving them a pass to treat us worse. That's why I have no love for Donald Trump at all. Because when you're talking to the cops, we know, we know as black people, we know that you're talking directly to us when you're saying what the cops can and can't do. And you're also saying that the federal government is not going to back up the citizen, they're going to back up the police first. We know the police is a criminal organization. We know this. We see it all the time, the crimes that they do. Yeah, you remember that. So we see the crimes that they do. We see they openly commit these crimes. Right. They openly commit these crimes and then try to hide behind the fact that they're the good guys. They are not the good. Anytime there's an organization that can openly commit heinous crimes to the tune that other countries are looking at what you're doing. This one entity, they're looking at what the police have done, and other presidents are going, "Why are you doing this to black people?" Other countries are saying this. This is the only reason why they stopped a lot of what they were doing back in the 60s, because other countries saw it. The news finally got out worldwide and they saw what they were doing to black people. Other countries was like, why are you doing it? It isn't because they love us. It's because other countries saw what they were doing and they were just like, what you're doing is wrong. You got to understand there's a lot of money in trade embargoes and all that other stuff. They need support from these other countries. America is not a standalone complex. They have to have allies. And we're talking about, we're not just talking about America, we're talking about all in the invading countries. We're talking about America, France, England. They don't stand alone. Australia, they don't stand by themselves. They got more nukes than everybody else, but they don't. You get nukes are not you know, they're not your Jesus. Trust. Not every fight is going to come down to nuclear weapons. They're more destructive than productive. You know what I mean? Eventually, it will reach you. So, do I think? And then, okay, let's look at a recent development where I think it was Costa Rica. Was it Costa Rica? Okay, so there's a couple developments. One, Mexico. There have been people dying in resorts. You have three people dead in the resort, same resort. You have a another woman. She's African American, and she was like, it could have been me too because as soon as I drank what was ever in the refrigerator, I got sick, but I spit it out. My mouth was on fire. It was like bleach, whatever. It's dangerous to go to some of these neighboring countries. It's dangerous, for one reason or another, people are attacking Americans. You have some countries that are the president of the Philippines, right? He got upset. He's like, "Why are you killing them?" Because America was all in their business, and he said, "Yeah, that's right. What you're doing to black people." And so you have that issue. You also have. Let's look at Russia. The big brouhaha in the election was because of Russia's influence. And right, because of Russia's influence. Now there's a whole thing to unpack there. There's a lot going on with that. But let me come back to neighboring countries. If we decide to flee, we don't have airplanes. There's no black owned airplane company. We don't have ships. You know what? I met one ship captain. One. And he was like, "I am the only ship captain," and he was a captain of like a small boat up in Lake Erie. He's like, "I'm the only black ship captain. We don't have large ships. We don't have a standing army. We don't have a standing navy. We don't. If we decide to do something here in America, black people in America, if we decide to up and just mass exodus, we're going to be running into where? Mexico. You may think that Mexico is an okay place to go, but it's not because they don't have. Listen, and there are black Mexicans. We could easily go into Mexico, but they still gonna know you're American. All right, they know you're African American. Okay, and with that being said, they know how you've been treated. And what are they gonna think? You're a threat to them? They're gonna think we're gonna treat you better over here? No, they're gonna do the same thing because a lot of people in Mexico are making money off of white America. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the violent people, the people who bring destruction to their country and ours, they're supported by America. We're no threat to them. So if we all decided to vacate here and go into Mexico, what do you think is going to happen to us? Who do you think is going to rule? They are going to snatch our children. They're going to snatch our women. They're going to get rid of us at will. You think you got it bad here? Oh, Mexico is what, is a second or third world country? Bro, you don't want that noise. You don't want that noise. So the problem is with fleeing America. I know this is a long-winded answer, but it's just so much there, especially with recent developments. The problem with fleeing America is it's not can you, because the answer is yes, but it's should you, when should you, how should you, how. We're talking about mass numbers. We're not talking about 10, 20 people. We're not talking about 200 people. We're talking about thousands. We're talking about Hondurans fleeing to America because of civil unrest in Honduras. We're talking about numbers like that. Because when it all hits the fan over here, there's not going to be any food. They did in Hurricane Katrina. They did what in Hurricane Katrina? Oh, they fled to Mexico? We're talking about a place that we can go and eke out a living. So we're talking about thousands of us. We're not talking about immigration either. We're not talking about going somewhere and coming back. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about migration either. You're just gonna migrate and then well, that's migration. Go in here and stand. That's what we're talking about. And then of course when somebody is migratory, they keep you know they're always migrating somewhere. We're talking about going somewhere and staying there. Well, yeah, once again, a neighboring country. Because we're not going to, listen, how many of people in the hood, I mean, you just got to think the average African American and their income. I mean, you gotta put it in you gotta put the numbers in perspective to come up with a good answer. The U.S. soldiers took the children. Right, right. They took the children, and what they do with them? Some of them never seen again. Some of them were exploited. Some of them were turned into slaves. They blew up that doggone levee. Why? Because the number one commodity is human. Young females are sought after more and more. Listen. They don't care that the female is black. That they want that even more. The black female is oversexed, and some of that is our fault. We're making money off of exploiting our own women. Just our own baby mom. Just exploit the hell out of her. Why? Because that is the most oversexed woman. Why? Because slavery. The Hottentot. The black woman is the most over. Listen, what they did to Barton when they saw that big old round booty and them huge tits. When they did to that woman, they thought she was a circus freak. They examined that woman every kind of way until she became a prostitute and then she died. The Hottentot woman. You think that stopped back then? They still doing that. Our women are born with big booties. That is a thing for us. That's a thing. That's what we do. That's how we grow them. People think it's red beans and rice. No, that's a whole African thing. That's a whole Jewish thing. That's the way they're supposed to look. You know what I'm saying? They're the most oversexed woman there is. Listen, when the day comes where the black people are put in a position of power, and I'm not talking about what Obama did. I'm talking about where if we are threatened, we could stand up. Yeah, they had it in a museum. I'm talking about if we are threatened, we could stand up. And I'm talking about threatened on every level. Somebody threatens us with a nuke, we'd be like, bring it. We got more missile silos than all of you, aimed at every country. Who won it? China, stop the madness. Stop it. We got money like China. But we got bombs like America. You know what I'm saying? When we got a wicked Air Force with F-35s and more. Shoot, we're playing around with F-35s. You know what I'm saying? When we can do Mach 12 and skip along the stratosphere like scramjets do, fighting with lasers, because now they can just knock you out the sky with a laser. huh? When we can do all that, and then dare you to and come at you like Kim Jong Il, you wanna do what? When? When's it going down? What's poppin'? Forget the Geneva Convention. What's good? Partner? You know what I'm saying? When our president talks like that, what you want to do, homie? When Ray Ray's our president and we know he bout that, yeah, they stop raping our women. Then and only then. And that can happen. It's just a shift in power. See, some people don't believe that can happen. Oh, but it can happen. And I think it's happening. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I think it's happening. Because because you need only a few things in order to start being in a position of power. There's not a long laundry list to positions of power. Right. Now, let's take the continent of Africa. Second largest, I think. What's happening in Africa now? Now, we know it's a whole ocean away. But what's happening in Africa now? What's happening is China. China is happening all over the world. You can just say because China. Man, they have a ray gun. They have a rail gun. Yeah, they got ray guns. They got rail guns. They got computer guided everything. I mean, the technology that America have is ridiculous. But here's the thing: the people who scream white power, they think that all of that came from them. They think all the technology that America has was made by white Americans. You could be no further from the truth. You know what America did? Here's what America did. America said, if you, well, America did a lot. So what America, England, what they did is they said, if you guys want the best education, if you want to trade, what you're going to have to do is come to a European nation. You're going to have to come to America, best education. For the best trades, you're going to have to come through us. But you know how they did it? Visa. Visa. And then they dilapidated other countries. They crushed them. They made sure that the people were sick. It's what they did in Africa. In the continent of Africa, they sickened people in different countries. We know Leopold killed 15 million people in one country. I think it was Senegal. So what they did was they dilapidated other countries. They made them sick. Then they financially sucked the money out of them. They took their resources. You know what I'm saying? They keep them poor. They're doing this today. They keep these people poor. And then they say, if you want the best of the best, you have to come and trade with us. You have to come to America. You have to come to England. You have to go to Australia. You have to go to France to get the best education. You have to. Other than that, your credits mean nothing. So the smartest people in the world come to these countries. And then America takes that knowledge and then they build all this technology. This isn't built by one race. It is not even one race because we're all the same race, human race. It's not built by one class of people. These are everyday slumdog millionaire people coming out of all parts of Asia, people coming out of Africa, the Sudan, the third and fourth world countries. Brilliant people. They find out that these people are brilliant. What's the first thing they do when they find out that you're brilliant? They tell you you need to either go to America or one of these European countries and get an education. They don't tell you you need to get an African education. even though there's plenty of schools in Africa. But if those schools aren't LI Med, if those schools don't have the same accreditation when you come over here and try to make a living, you're not going to, no, they're going to be like, well, this isn't the same accreditation. You need to come to one of our schools. Whoever has the gold makes the rules. Then they dilapidate these other countries. They suck all the money out of these countries. They make sure the police force is weakened in these countries. Then they go in and they have their way with these children. And the mothers and fathers can do nothing about it except watch their 6 and 7 year olds be used to go out to the beaches to look for the Mazungo, which is the white man to make money just to eat. Your 6 and 7 year old daughter is hustling her body and his body to the man from England, to the man from America, just so they can eat, and the police can't do nothing about it. And when the news shows up or reporter shows up and they want to know, the police are like, pay us and we'll tell you. Everybody's starving. But there's a switch coming. Because when you keep doing things that are unnatural, nature will step in and it will come for you. And that's what they're up against. They're up against nature. When you piss nature off, things start happening. There are a bunch of unnatural things happening in this world. What up, man? Like your shoes, bro? So there's a bunch of unnatural events that are happening. Whether it's earthquakes, whether it's shoot, the freaking sky falling anymore. There's just a lot of things that are just uncommon and that are happening because of, I don't know, the use of fossil fuel, the arrogance that this world, you can keep polluting this crazy world. Hey, what's going on, Steve? You can keep polluting this crazy world, and you know, who cares? Arrogance and hubris has always been a killer of kings. White people don't realize the election whites don't care about them either, right? And you know what? There's not just one type of white people anymore. There's white people who are ignorant, and there's white people who are awake. There are white people who see the flood coming, and there are white people who don't care. There are white people who think they can escape a catastrophe, and there's white people trying to prevent it. The white people who are trying to prevent it, they're more in line with us. Y'all better cut out this nonsense. All this nuclear, this and that, Chernobyl.
Here's your keys.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
think you're trying to see what.
Chernobyl and all that. They're just like, look, maybe you wasn't awake when Chernobyl happened. No one can live in Chernobyl right now. No one. You go there for too long, you need a Geiger counter. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Even the one in China, or was it Japan? Which one in Japan? The nuclear plant that went off. I'm just saying, there. But I tell you what lives in Chernobyl. You know what's alive in Chernobyl? Animals. Animals are alive and kicking in Chernobyl. The grass is growing. Right. The grass is growing. The whole city that's in Chernobyl is being overran by foliage, flora, and fauna. Nature. Nature has a way of cleaning up our mess. And that's what's going to happen. Those people are going to get, you can't pull on Superman's cape. It's just, you can't piss off nature. You just can't. And be ignorant and arrogant. You have to live with nature. See, we are of nature. But if we keep living like we're a disease, like we're a cancer, nature's going to clean us up. And that's it, and that's all. But there are a lot of events that we should take note of. um, when it comes to leaving this country and going to another country. There are a lot of countries that don't accept us. They tolerate us. There are a lot of countries that tolerate us, but they don't want to see us in mass numbers. So we have to be aware of that. Now, if you want to take your family and go and live in an African country, make sure that you do your homework. Because, one guy jumped on me and says, I noticed that you didn't say move to an African country. And I'm like, for one, I never been to an African country. For two, I'm not African. Okay? I don't speak African. I don't even know like many Africans. I'm not, yeah, let's go back to Africa. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I'm sure, that there's plenty of family influence from Africa, but you're saying that like I've been to Africa before, and or I can trace my root. No, my roots were cut off during slavery days. As far as I know, I'm a Jew. I came out of Israel, poured into Africa, and then came out of Africa. So, when people get on you, when dude got on me, I'm just like, and then he wrote this whole dossier. I ain't even bother to read. You know what I'm saying? I ain't but
All right,
far.
Tom.
All right,
Go
right.
ahead, man.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not African. I'm Jewish, and that's different. Come out of Mesopotamia, into Jerusalem. Two different countries, two different people. Yeah, everyone's not African. So once again, it begs the question of where do we go if we're going to leave? If we're fleeing the country, not if you're leaving the country, if you're fleeing the country. If it gets so bad here that what they did to us in the 60s looks like a picnic, because that can happen. I think it will. We look, you know what our greatest thing is? If you look in the book of Deuteronomy, you know what our greatest thing is? Our numbers. Our greatest thing is not technology. Yeah, we're Jews. Our greatest thing is not technology. Our greatest thing is I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna tell you what our greatest thing is. Our women. I'm gonna tell you why our greatest thing is our women. Because of our seed. It's the ability to multiply. It's the ability to multiply. Our greatest resource, our hands. We can spawn so many of us within a very short time and create a standing army, a standing working force in very little time. Less than 100 years, we can. Right, exactly. But that's the promise made to us. We would outnumber the stars. That wasn't that wasn't just like a like that wasn't just something that God said casually. He's saying physically, you have the ability to mass produce and it not be a thing. It's like it's nothing. Like that's our ability. The European does not have that ability. There is no Caucasoid that has the ability to spawn faster than we do. None. Not one European nation can spawn like we do. They outnumber us here in America, but they don't outnumber us. If our numbers, listen, if we had the same privilege they did, technology, everything, and they stopped killing us all over the globe, they already know. Within a matter of 10 years, within, listen, within a, listen, within a matter of 10 years, our numbers would jump exponentially. And it wouldn't even go like this on a graph. It would go like this. If they stop poisoning us, they cut out all of these fake epidemics. They cut out all that, stopped all these shootings, and stopped all this incarcerations, and stopped pitching this, homosexuality movement and to all over the world, and trying to get other presidents. You notice how they tried to go and Obama went into Africa, and they were just like, "Nah, we're not doing that," because our greatest resource is our women, our seed. That is what we are. This is why women are built like that. This is why they're oversexed. Because God blessed our women. And our women are sexy for a reason. They are pleasing to the eye for a reason. And it's dangerous if it's taken out of context. But if a man and a woman comes, you think Adam looked at Eve and was like, "Nah, I'm good." Right. Adam looked at Eve and was just like, "Well, hang on for a minute, Lord. I think I'm going to preach today. That woman is fine." You know what I'm saying? Adam wasn't in the garden like, I don't think I want to see Eve today. She ain't right. She got this. No, he was like, "Okay, my rib. Let's go." His heart was broken when she did what she did. That's our greatest, our women. There's always going to be more black women than there is black men. This is why marriage to one woman, one man is just crazy. They're poisoning us, Planned Parenthood and all that. They hate us. They hate the fact that we have the gift. But we have more gifts than that. Listen, God didn't just give us that gift and say, "This is all I'm going to give to you." He also gave us a way to protect ourselves, you know, but we don't use it because we're blinded. When the Jews bring out, NWA, when the Jews bring out that violent, hideous NWA music, that torturous, ungodly, oh, I hate that music. When they did this, and then we start killing each other over colors, that wasn't just a casual thing. The Jews know what they're doing. Excuse me, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They did it on purpose. They wanted to crush us. They wanted to crush us. We know it. That terrible, godless music. We know those guys are puppets. Easy E and all them. We know that they're puppets. They're puppets of the system. I can't listen to none of them because they helped the murder rate. They helped kill us. They helped do it. They wanted to get rid of our blessing. Yeah, the Jewish. They are an ish, a form of. They're not real. I told one of them that he wasn't real. I was like, "You're not a Jew." Pissed off. Told him not in the grocery store. We are the real Jews. We're the real deal. Our seed is the most valuable thing we have. We could populate this planet easily and live with it instead of tearing it apart. We could do that. Black people can do that easily. But we got some crazies too. Edie Amin, a murdering nutcase. Boko Haram, off the chain. We got some nutcase presidents. We got some people who sided with the Dutch when Leopold killed 15. Listen, we didn't get taken into slavery because the Santa de Pinta and the Maria and the Santa Maria, the Pinta, the Nina, and the Santa Maria showed up on the Ivory Coast, and then all of a sudden we decided, we got taken over. No, there was help. The Africans traded the Jews. The Africans traded the Jews. They traded us. So it's how. If you want to leave, if you want to leave America, I'm gonna tell you now. If you want to leave America, you should leave within the next 10 years, and you should do it while you're young, while you can. The scripture says, "Serve God while you're young." You should do it while you're young, while you can go somewhere and test the waters, and you don't have to move to Africa. But there are some great countries in Africa. And I suggest you do it alone. You know what I'm saying? Find a place that's not about to explode with civil unrest. Because listen, when it all goes down, some of these countries are going to be on our side. They're going to know there's going to be a mass number of black people, and they're going to look at us and they're not going to go, these are terrible people. Because why? They're going to look at building themselves up. And what do you need to do that? People. You need people to farm the land. You need people to work in the factories. You need scientists. You need doctors. We're not over here useless. If we were over here unemployed, all of us, doing nothing, not having degrees, not being a part of the society. See, if we were a blight to the nation, then no country's going to want us. But that's not what we are. We are a conquering nation. See, you're not going to get a whole handful of us, and none of us are going to be any good. You're only going to get that if you pick the people who aren't any good. Yeah, Ghana, Senegal. There are plenty of countries in Africa you can go, and they're just like, welcome to the country. What's good? Here's where you're going to be staying. Here's where you're going to be working. This is my whole family. This is our clan. See you tomorrow because I got to go to work. And that's it. We love you, but we got to go to work. See, even see, the financial system is changing too. Because first you had a lot of European countries that had their own financial system. That stopped. Now a lot of them just use the euro. But the euro is more valuable than the dollar. So when you have stock market crashes, when you have things that happen like 9/11, and then you have bailouts, you start seeing AIG get bailed out, which is an insurance company. You start seeing building number 6 all of a sudden collapse, even though the catastrophe is over. And there's no way that building should have collapsed. But all of a sudden it's a huge insurance policy on the building, and then what? The building collapses, and then the person who owns the building gets this huge, huge payout You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump, huge payout, gets his ridiculous. Y'all better not be over there eating my chicken. Gets this ridiculous payout. You just things just ain't right. You know what I'm saying? People are thieves and liars. All that's gonna come to a head. You get it how you live, and God is not dead. All these godless people doing these godless acts, just godless, and don't care about God openly. I don't care about God. Tell you, like I saw a sign at the Pride event yesterday. If you don't believe in God, you're not alone. I just wanted to ask these people, how do you think you got here? You and Tom Cruise better cut that out because guess what? You look, you guys think some evolution brought you here. You think some or some monkey or some Big Bang Theory. Where do you think the monkey came from? Who do you think banged on the Big Bang Theory? Where'd that bang come from? Where'd the bang come from? The big boom bam? Who you think did the big boom? You better be, man, come on. Come on. That monkey didn't just show up. Y'all better cut that out. And it is so bold. It is so bold to say there is no God. It is, I can't even get the words out my mouth. It is so bold to try to convince yourself that God doesn't exist. You have to have so much gall. How do they say? How do the white people say? The unmitigated. Yo, you have to have the unmitigated gall, meaning you're not even going to register your gall. Your gall is unmitigated. It is so much gall that there is not a gall registry for how much gall you have. You have the unmitigated gall to say that God does not exist. That's unmitigated. Nah, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. You better check yourself. Heck yeah, they had dynamite on those buildings. The way the building fell illustrated that it had dynamite. But yeah, if you're gonna leave, leave now. Save your money up. Go visit a few countries. Get to know the people. Don't just show up like I'm here and everybody should love me, because nobody loves you. Go somewhere and earn some love. Go somewhere and be valuable. Enter into the system with a trade. Yeah, go somewhere with a trade. Go somewhere and be a resource. Don't go somewhere and be a blight. Don't go somewhere and be and try to occupy a territory without some type of contribution. You know, don't go somewhere and people look at you like you're not helping us build. Go somewhere with some knowledge, and don't go nowhere with book knowledge only, spewing lectures and all kind of just and without getting your hands in the dirt. Can you plant rice, bro? Do you know how to plant an apple tree? Because we don't care. We're hungry. You know how to hunt? Can you fish? Can you build a boat? Can you build a raft? Can you build a bow and arrow? Because all those things bring in food. Because we don't care about your philosophy if we can't eat. Maslow's hierarchy of need. Can you build a hut? Can you build a house? A clay house, a straw house, a bamboo house, anything. Do you know how to put cement together? Something, a wooden house. Can you build an auto, a cart? Do you know anything about electricity? Anything at all? Watts, voltages, transformers. Do you know anything involving electricity? Because that's our problem. We can't see at night. And we would like to see. We would like to see. You see that dirt road over there? We would like to pave that road. Do you have anything on that? Because if you want to sit around and drink Schlitz malt liquor, you're going to be doing it in another country. You're going to be exiled. Today. Today. And just leave your stuff because that's all not ours now. We're just going to kick you out of the country without a passport, meaning you're going to be stuck in the airport of the neighboring country because you can't leave without a passport and you can't enter another country without a passport. And if you think that doesn't happen, it just did. And it's happening to a lot of people. They're being kicked out of a country, and when they try to enter in another country, they're being stuck at the airport for weeks. They are not homeless, they are countryless. They're countryless. That's it. What they brought to the airport is everything that they have. And now they have to sleep inside of the airport. See, that's what they want to know. Can you come to this country and be of value? Do you have some type of education? And it doesn't have to be paper education. Are you educated in something that's going to bring us up? Something. Something. How you doing with that shovel? Because I'm telling you, if you can sling a mean shovel, you will always be valuable. You will always be valuable if you can sling a mean shovel. If you know math, if you're a good mathematician, yeah, some of that. Because you can apply math to anything. Heck, people apply math to religion. If you can get down with some math and apply math, not theoretical, hypothetical, you know, I believe that x squared minus 3 times squared could be the. Nah, we don't want to hear that. We're not over here trying to build a collider. We're not trying to go out in the outer space. But see that patch of dirt over there, about 20 acres? It will not grow corn, and we don't know why. What you got on that? Because 20 acres of corn, 20 acres of rice, 20 acres of potatoes can feed an army. Literally. Who's that? Hey, what's going on? Trying to see your name. My doggone phone has had it. Yeah. 20 acres of rice, 20 acres of potatoes, one patch of potatoes, but 20 acres? You know what happened to Napoleon when he tried to take over the world? He almost succeeded. You know what stopped him? Starvation. He went up in, I think it was Russia, and his army froze and they starved. They starved. If you cannot feed an army, you don't have an army. I'm just saying. If you know something about flora and fauna, if you know something about cures, you're always going to be valuable. And I don't mean witch doctor cures. I don't mean this might could. I mean, if you can take a sunflower and curate some type of sunflower grows everywhere, or uh, a purple cornflower, black eyed Susan. We're talking about a common flower. We're talking about the little well, dandelions. There it is. That's what I meant to say. Not sunflower and sunflower, but dandelions grows everywhere. What can you do with this dandelion? This little dandelion. What can you do on this? Now, if you took a dandelion and knew how to make, threw together some salve with a little, little dip and dab, rubbed it on your skin, and kept the mosquitoes away, yeah, kept the mosquitoes, kept the malaria, the Zika virus, so our kids aren't born with lopsided heads. You know what I'm saying? That's a real thing right now all over the planet. See, I might end up getting a degree in epidemiology, well, a master's degree. I have a degree in healthcare, but I might end up going in epidemiology and doing some traveling in my old age and hopefully work for the CDC. But I'm just trying to tell you guys when you look at other countries, you have to look closely and have to look at how valuable can my presence be, because the more valuable you are, the less likely it is that you'll have a hard time adapting to that country. The less likely it is that you won't make friends. The less likely it is that when armies do have takeovers, like we've just seen, when armies do have takeovers, that you're not going to be the first one thrown out you know, to get your head blown off. They're going to be like, no, this person's valuable. And we're talking about a neighboring invading army. They're going to be like, what do you do? Well, I cure, that disease that you got, you know what I'm saying? That outbreak that you got. Well, guess who found a cure for it? Louis Pasteur over here. Pleased to meet you, sir. Now, you can off me if you want to, but you're going to lose more soldiers by tomorrow night than you can count. And 3 days later, guess who's going to come see you? Okay? Father Death is going to come see you too, brother. Now, you want to sit down and take this vaccination, or you want to shut up and, all right. You know what I'm saying? You want to sit down and take this pill? You know what I'm saying? Michelle Nostradamus over here. Pleased to meet you, sir. He found a cure for the Black Plague. Be of value. If you're leaving the country, don't leave the country and not be something. Even if you're a woodworker, you know how valuable a woodworker is? Valuable. Somebody who can work some wood in measurements. I'm not talking about building a little giraffe out of wood. I'm talking about somebody who can, who knows cubics, feet, the difference between a cubit and a foot. Because a cubit is Bible talk measurement. Well, guess what? People still use cubits. Somebody out there is going to use a cubit, or they're going to use something and relate it to a cubit. They're going to be like, oh, that's a cubit. Yeah, you got to have 300 of those, 40 of those. You know how to make, stuff to put that together? Oh, yeah. You can transport over water. You know how to build an engine? Just some basic stuff. Even to land dwellers, engines are important. Because if you can transport something from one place to another faster, I don't care if it's twice as fast. If you're moving twice as fast as a camel does, then some water, food is going to get there twice as fast as a camel does. You feel me? I'm just saying, be valuable. Look at your current surroundings. Look at YouTube, and don't just be entertained. Be interested. Be interested. Find something that makes your hair stand up on your arms like, I didn't know this can happen, and can I do that? Get yourself a pickaxe. Get yourself a rock hammer. Get yourself a rubber mallet. You know what I'm saying? Like my car is full of rust, and I'm just like, I wonder if I can fix that. So I'll go on YouTube and look at what they say, and I'm gonna end up doing it myself. You can fix a car, you can fix an engine, you can fix a transmission. You are valuable. You're valuable. They're gonna need you. I'll put it to you like this: when Russia was making tanks, Russia almost got beat. When Russia got invaded by Germany, it's because the Germans had better tanks than they did. I mean, just drink that in. You're about to be overran simply because your enemy is more advanced than you in the current day technology. You're about to lose. Listen, the Germans had tanks that were amphibious. Bro, the tanks could literally go along the water, and some of them could go underwater. But you know what? They lost a whole squadron. They lost a whole squadron when they tried to invade along the shore. Tanks went into the water, everybody died. But the idea, they put an idea, they said, what if we could go in underwater? Everybody died. They lost a whole squadron that way, but not everybody who was in an amphibious tank died. Yes, that's what I'm saying. See, even if it's old knowledge, look at what the Wrights brother did. The Wrights brother did not create the airplane. Airplanes were long ago in Egypt. They found an airplane in one of the pyramids. Airplanes been a thing. But what did they do? They were just like, well, we ain't got none of these going on now. They had those, what, 2,000 years ago? We need to bring that back. Boom, bam, beans and ham. Now we're all over the skies. And listen. Last week, an airplane pilot saw a UFO. This was on Worldstar. And when he saw the UFO, he was in a fighter jet. He was in a brand new, spanking new fighter jet. He was out there doing the business. And he wasn't alone. It was his boy, too. His boy was in another fighter jet. Listen, they're in fighter jets. They can do Mach 2, 3, 4. They're doing the business. They can run at super cruise. They got cruise missiles. They got all that other good stuff. That doggone UFO made them look like they were walking. He said this thing would move at speeds that we could never do and would stop and turn and move at the same speed in another direction. They could move at Mach 3, stop, Mach 3 again. We think we got something because we got an F-35. That F-35 is the Stone Age. Oh, we got what, F-22 Raptors? Stone Age. You're not conquering the sky with that. Hell, Russia got a fighter pilot. Russia has an airplane that can almost go into the stratosphere. Our planes don't fly that high. Russia, listen, this thing flies up higher than the Blackbird does, and it's armed. The Blackbird is not armed. It is simply for gathering information. The Blackbird. What do you want me to repeat? Because we got cut off. What do you want me to repeat? Anyways, so I'm just saying, be valuable. What's your biggest value? Your hands, your mind. I have a degree in healthcare. I can land somewhere, and if there's a healthcare organization, I can slide right into that healthcare. And I never worked in one, but I know the way they work. Being that I didn't work in one doesn't mean I never researched one. I never worked in one, but I know exactly how this is going to work. It's the compare a 10 speed to a Lamborghini. No, that list. No, 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 no. That's giving it too much credit. Because let me tell you why. Let me tell you why that's giving it too much credit. That's giving it too much credit. Because the same technology you're talking about to move a 10 speed is the same technology you're talking about to move an airplane. I mean, to move a Lamborghini. There has to be a motor. Then there has to be some type of combustible energy. Then a combustible energy moves the vehicle forward or backwards. The combustible energy is us when it comes to a bicycle. We eat, that energy goes into our stomach and then is distributed through our muscles. That is combustible energy, right? The same thing with the car. A combustible energy, gasoline goes into the engine, and then it explodes combustible, and the pistons go up and down because of that explosion, and it motivates the car forward, transmission and such. So it's the same. No, the technology that is used to move at high speed, stop on a dime, hover, move at a high speed somewhere else at the same. You got to understand. Another thing, when we're riding a bike, we build up speed. We get on, stand up on it, we building up speed. When you use a Lamborghini, you press the pedal and you're trying to go from zero to a certain amount of speed. And also, the gravitational force applies to the bicycle and it applies to the Lamborghini. Gravity. If you take your foot, when you take your foot off of the gas pedal, you have to put it on the brake pedal in order for it to stop. Difference. The UFO is not doing that. The UFO is coming to a complete stop. So imagine if you were in a car doing 60 miles an hour and you were doing 60 miles an hour, you took your foot off of the gas pedal and the car stopped dead. What would happen? You'd fly right into the windshield. That's not what's happening with these UFOs. They're doing Mach 3, Mach 4, Mach 5, stopping on a dime, and everything in there is fine. And then they're moving at Mach 3, Mach 4, Mach 5 immediately. There's no buildup. It's not the same technology. Well, you know, I'm gonna tell you something. I think that we can obtain that technology. Look, I am not versed in combustible energy. I'm not versed in any type of form of mechanics. I mean, I can get a distributor cap off of, my my hoopty right here. I can change a few things on here, but to build an engine. But I've been thinking about this for a couple of years. How to build an engine that will run, for one, run off of air, but not only that, an engine that never stops. And once it reaches maximum speed, the engine itself stays at maximum speed without any other energy source but the wind and the energy that it's creating, meaning it's folding in on itself. If you take something and you move it at a specific miles an hour, if you move something at 5 miles an hour and you fold it, now it's moving at 10 miles an hour. If you fold it again, you see what I mean? 10 miles an hour. It's not moving at 20 miles an hour next. It's not going 5, 10, then 20 miles. No, that's not what's going on. It's what is it? It's pi. Okay, so a number. I don't know what it is. I'm not a mathematician, but nonetheless, even with me and my limited, very fragile knowledge, I've been thinking it's highly possible to do with what we've seen. And the way to do it, for what they're doing, there's a couple things that you have to have. One of them is you have to have a high, you have to have a high non-radiated. You can't have something that's creating radiation. It can't be nuclear. It can't be nuclear. Exactly. But if you build it, they'll kill you. But it can't be nuclear. It has to be because a nuclear sub can run forever. But a nuclear sub is highly dangerous. Nuclear energy is highly dangerous. So it's not nuclear. It can't be nuclear because nuclear is unnatural. It's an unnatural resource. It's valuable, but it's unnatural to me. And it's and not only is it unnatural, it's unnatural to the earth. If the earth can't ingest it and feed off of it and things be the same, then it is unnatural. What I'm talking about is using nature itself, using nature. So what I've been thinking about is you have to have a source that 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 creates a frequency and or a vibration, get it, that has to surround the vehicle itself. So the UFOs that they're seeing, these UFOs are vibrating on a different frequency than the jet plane is. The frequency that they're vibrating on is synonymous with the molecules in the air. Meaning, if you took water and you poured water into water, and there's no difference in it, okay, if you took a pot of water, you just, spigot, pot of water, and then you took a cup of water out of that pot of water, and you poured it back into that pot of water, you poured it back in. Do you see the difference between the cup water and the pot of water? The answer is no. So that the the frequency that the UFOs are vibrating on is the same frequency that the molecules of the atmosphere is vibrating on. In other words, gravity has no effect because it doesn't know it's there. If it doesn't know it's there, it can't fight against it. That's why they can move without gravity. No, that's why they can. That's why they can move. They can go. Shh, shh, shh. They can move. Once he is gravity, then there is no gravity. That's what's going on. There's no other explanation for it because they're not affected by. You can't move that fast without friction. Gravity creates friction. If you're moving at Mach 2 and Mach 3, even at the speed of sound, you create friction. Yes, that's what's going on. They're at, and the thing about it is, they're at perfect harmony, even in water. So, which is where they're coming from. When they go into the water doesn't slow them down because they're operating on the same frequency as the molecules of the water. They've had pictures of objects going into the water without slowing down. There's only one way you can do that. If the water doesn't know you're there, then the water never slows you down, which is simply a frequency. All that is a frequency, and that can happen with any object. You can take a Ford Mustang, throw it into the water, what's going to happen? It's going to slow down as soon as it hits the water. But if you put a frequency of the water inside of the Mustang and it covered the area of the Mustang, as soon as you throw it in, that thing is going to, guess what? It's going to go at the same speed. The same speed that it was falling, it's gonna go in the water and continue at the same speed, and everything, and you and everything that's inside of it, it will be like nothing's happening. There's not going to be no jerk back. There's not going to be no windows crashing, nothing. All that is a frequency. And I think that's what the engine is doing. Not to mention, if you were hovering and you had this engine and you were hovering, you wouldn't necessarily make a sound. But if you were hovering and say you're hovering at, 5 feet. Hold on a second. Let me see what this guy is doing. And you were hovering at 5 feet, and then something came along and touched the vehicle that you're in. Let's just say that you had a flying car and it was hovering at 5 feet, and another vehicle came and touched it doing 5 miles an hour, just touched it, boom. Then, if you had that particular engine, the vehicle that touched you is going to move you at the velocity that it touched you. It's kind of like when you're playing pool and you take a cue ball and you hit the 8 ball, and then the 8 ball uses the same velocity. See, when the cue ball hits the 8 ball, does the 8 ball go faster than the cue ball? The answer is no. The explosion that happens when both balls meet doesn't make the 8 ball go faster. As a matter of fact, the 8 ball starts off at the same speed that it was connected, and eventually gravity and or friction causes the 8 ball to slow down. Well, imagine that happening in midair, 5 feet in the air, and you had this particular engine. If the cue ball hit the 8 ball, then the 8 ball is going to continue to go, just like in space. The 8 ball is going to continue to go in the same direction, not unless you add something that can guide it, at the same speed continually, which is the same thing space does. It's non-gravity. There, you can create a non-gravitational engine, but we use resources that are dangerous to the earth, so the earth that are unnatural. Because you're using unnatural instruments, you're using unnatural resources. This this allows the planet, the universe itself, to recognize you. It's just like when you get sick, you have a cold, or whatever it is. Whatever's in your body recognizes that it doesn't belong there. The universe is doing the same thing. And what does it do? Sends out some white blood after you. Those white blood cells try to, handle you. And then create more white blood cells, lipids, and all that other goofy stuff. Excuse me, not goofy, but important stuff. But nonetheless, the point is there's a foreign object in your body that your body is naturally trying to get rid of. Same thing with the planet. The planet is a body, it is a living organism. If you took its natural ability to move from one place to another, and you matched it somehow. You were on the same, yeah, and you matched it. It wouldn't even know you're there. And if it did recognize you, it wouldn't recognize you as a foreign object. And therefore, if you're not a foreign object, then it has no hostility towards you. Gravity is hostile. It is a force of nature. Gravity is hostile. If you don't believe it, throw a ball off the top of a two-story building and listen to the ball hit the ground. Bang! You would not want that to be you. Gravity is hostile towards anything that it does not recognize. It doesn't recognize the plastic ball. It doesn't recognize airplanes. This is why they have to use something that is unnatural to get an airplane into the air. But when the Egyptians made that airplane didn't look the same. See, what the Egyptians had was natural. What we have is unnatural. Airplanes are unnatural. They don't belong in the sky. That metal does not belong in the sky. It's unnatural. So what do you have to do? You have to create something to make the airplane look like it's natural. And when the natural signature is recognized, you will no longer have people falling out of the sky. And that's it and that's all. You have to find the natural signature to water, the natural signature to lava, the natural signature. And here's the thing, all of those signatures can all be found. And it doesn't have to be different engine. That's one engine. That's one frequency. When you find that one frequency that matches everything, you could pass through a wall. You could walk right through this wall. And this wall will not resist you because it doesn't know that you're walking through it. And your vibrations are the same vibrations of this wall. Same thing with making an object lighter or heavier. And this is how you have some of these monoliths that were built. Some of them were built using water, but some of them were built using simple logic, natural logic. People were able to move large objects. How were they able to do it? Some of them built those objects in water. So water allowed them to, motivate these objects, but not all of them were. And these people were able to move them across large bodies of water, across, I mean, if you look at Easter Island, it's 650 nautical miles from the nearest landmass. From where those stones were created, 650 miles. How? How did you move that? You see what I mean? So there's a lot going on that needs to be found out, and don't wait for scientists to do it. You do it. You figure it out. There are plenty of scientists in this world who are what I call backyard scientists. There are plenty of people who figure stuff out who don't have degrees. You have geniuses in every nationality. Why? Because we are nature. We're natural. We're here to figure it out. You don't go, Asians are the smartest people. They're not. People are the smartest people. But Asians may focus on a certain frequency that we don't bother to. They focus on nature. They have a very love for nature, and they still do with all this technology. They have a love for nature that we forget because of the concrete. We forget because we're surrounded by steel and plastic, which is, where did plastic come? Styrofoam, corkboard, stuff that is non-biodegradable. Nature doesn't recognize this stuff. Nature hates plastic. Nature hates styrofoam, bubble wrap. They can do amazing things because of the frequency that they're operating on. And the first monks were black. Those people aren't any better than anyone else. They're just more focused than we are. We're focused on our cars and rims and big booty hoes. Look, the hoes are fun to look at. The rims are fun to look at. You know what I'm saying? The car is fun to look at. But the earth doesn't recognize none of that craziness. The earth recognizes a big booty woman because she's supposed to look that way. The earth recognizes a vehicle, but that isn't made out of metal. Something that eventually the earth comes and snatches back. Every time. You don't believe it? Look under your car. You got a 2001, 2002, go look up under it and tell me the earth ain't snatching that car back. It's called rust. I'm just saying. Get on a frequency. Find one. Love it. Be valuable. Figure it out. There are people who actually have the ability to fly without an Iron Man suit. There have been reports of these people since the beginning of time. They literally know how to hover and levitate their body and stand there and talk to you. And ask you what time it is. Yo, what time is it, bro? What time's the game come on? You'd be like, bro, you are 10 feet in the air. And be like, and why aren't you? When's the last time you flew? You'd be like, wait, what? Flew? Bro, I walk. That's your problem. That's why your bones hurt. That's why your feet hurt all the time. Because you don't know how to fly. You don't know how to be friends with gravity. Shoot, I don't know how to do it, but I know people do it. I've been trying to figure it out. Just imagine if you saw on the news that a man was downtown, or a woman, or some baby, some 7-year old, you know, little dark skinned girl was outside in the yard playing with, I don't know, playing with a bunch of other kids. And then 5 of them just generated enough, was singing some happy song. Moms, dads outside the yard, everybody's chilling. And next thing you know, they hit a frequency and bam, all of them rose in the air at the same time. Boom, 20 feet in the air. And none of them was afraid. And they're like, and moms and dads freaking out. And the kids are just like, shoot, I'm fine. Get down here and levitate, if that's a word, and come right back down, walk right back over to him and be like, I'm good. What happened? Shoot. I know I was flying. And look at you like, why ain't you flying? Next thing you know, the whole hood can take off. Bro, this stuff is possible. It's happened. But they want you to believe that you can't do these things. Hussein Bolt is not the fastest person on the planet. He's their fastest person on the planet. There are people who run literally 10 times faster than him. Literally. 100, 200 miles an hour. But we don't do it because we believe what we see. We don't want to believe in the impossible. And when somebody's voice becomes too loud and say these things are true, then you have the critics to come out and say these things aren't true. You couldn't do that. And if you prove it to them, that's your life. You will have to go to another country and televise it. And then you would have to hide because they're coming for you. Exactly. People are like, oh, this movie sucked. I'm like, no, you missed the point. You missed the point of what he said. You missed the whole movie. The point of the movie wasn't that there was a superhero. No, no, no. You got that because your mind is on Marvel. You're basic. No, no, no. He said he was an angel. There was somebody like him, and the woman said, we are angels. She manipulated the weather and everything. And then what? He got weak because she was around him. And she was another color. They were talking about heaven and hell. She was another color. They were talking about the opposing angels. They were talking about the war that goes on along the skies that we don't even hear about. We think it's thunder. We hear these strange noises. We don't even know what it is. They were talking about angels. They were talking about beings that are far more powerful than what we think, but they are related to us. Their power is you can tap into their power. They listen to you every day and wonder why you're so strange. People be calling each other, "You're weird. You're weird" when you think of stuff like that. Really? Until a house falls on them, then they want you to be a hero all the time. You can't be regular then. Once you show somebody your hero, your power, they want you to use it for them all the time, not against them, for them. And when you decide not to, they mad at you. Then they come and crucify you. Then they come and crucify you. And I'm going to tell you something. I truly believe that there are people out there who can do this, but they're scared. And they have every right to be. I believe there's people living right in your hood and my hood who can do extraordinary things and can do it without that. I believe there are people who can blink an eye and go from one place to another, like can show up in your house and just like I dream a genie. I believe that. I believe there's some little dark chocolate kid running around here, a little 12-year-old boy, but he's aware. He's 12. He sees what America does. He knows if he blinks and the wrong person sees him, they're going to tear his whole hood down. Yeah, they can. He knows they're going to come for his family. They're going to come for him. First, they're going to hail him. They're going to be like, oh my God, you can do this. He's going to be on all these shows. They're going to do it. But then, them doctors are going to get to him. They're going to start taking his blood. They're going to have every experiment on him in front of the cameras. And then all of a sudden, he's not going to show up one day to church or whatever he goes to. Family's going to be looking for them. They're going to be gone. And then the news is, where did he go? Well, they killed him. They got rid of him because they found out that he can blink inside of a jail and blink 10 people out. Right. He can blink inside a jail and blink 10 people out. He can blink inside a Pentagon, say hello to the president, and blink himself right back out. Just bleep, gone. And before you even get time to try to shoot him, blinked right in front of him. Bullet goes, what, 750 miles an hour? How fast can a man blink? Highly. To them, how fast can a man blink? How fast do you think you can blink? So he can move faster than a bullet because he can blink faster than a bullet. And when you blinked, he vibrated his whole body. Bullet went right through him. He was there. Bullet went through him. He wasn't there. He was there. Bullet came close to him. He wasn't there. Bullet went past. Then he was there again. Now you think he's intangible. No, he just blinked. And then when you're done shooting, he's going to blink right inside of you. He's just going to stand next to you and put his finger in your head. And your whole brain's going to just. Yeah, he's dangerous because you attacked him. Yeah, he's just going to blink inside of you. Or even worse, he's going to take you and blink you inside of something. You need a hand, Miss Lady? Okay. Yeah, he's just going to blink. He might blink you right on, top of the Empire State Building and warn you, don't shoot at me again in the middle of a lightning storm. Gave you a chance to live. If you get struck, that's on you. I'm just saying he might give you a chance. He might do it before the front of the whole world. He might blink his way into the president's office and says, "We are not dangerous." It looks just like an X-Men movie. He'll say, "I'm not dangerous, but if you attack me again, I'll protect myself." And then the whole narrative of are these dangerous? And in not one case have they ever attacked anyone. And you know what? They'll have out for them. They'll be trying to figure out how to protect themselves from them, which is natural. Okay, I get that. But then they'll go after them. That's what they do to us. They're doing that to us now. They go after us. They know we're fast. What human can run faster than a black man? Naturally, none. None. Try to beat us on the open field and man to man. Try that. They do it all the time. It's called football. And they have to, the only way, see, in football is a perfect illustration of matching nature with nature. The fastest people on the planet are black. So you create the sport football, right? Football at one point was only played by white people. You can go to any team in football, there's 24 of them. Count how many black people are on football now. There is no all white team. There isn't. Because as soon as a black man entered into football, they realized the unfair advantage that that particular team had. You have a black man, which means you have a, it's not a secret weapon, you have a weapon that we don't have. So what they do, they went out and started hiring all kind of black men. It was just like, because no one can match our speed. The fastest man in football, in football is Bullet Bob Hayes. He's dead now, but he was also the only human. He's the only human to win the Super Bowl and win a gold medal in the Olympics. With a helmet and pads. So you are. Hey, thank you, dude. When they talk about the fastest, matter of fact, when they talk about the top 10 fastest people, they never mention a white man. Well, no, no, they mentioned one, BB. They mentioned BB. They always want to throw BB in there. I think BB played for the Broncos. I think he's a fast white dude, but and now you got this white kid now who's the fastest. He's the fastest kid ever. Well, Barry Sanders wasn't known for his speed, even though he was fast. He's nowhere close to being the fastest man though. It's Bullet Bob Hayes or Green, and then of course you got Deion Sanders and all those other people. Willie Galt, Ronaldo Niemeyer. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you have a bunch of burners that are in there now, and then you have people who hit a certain speed at a certain point. No, he wasn't fast. He was really quick. His difference. He was Barry Sanders was a Bo Jackson, one of the fastest people. But Bo Jackson wasn't as quick as Barry Sanders. He wasn't as quick as him, but he was faster than him and he was more powerful than him. Bo Jackson made Deion Sanders look stupid. Like literally. He palmed Deion Sanders in the face and slammed him to the ground. There's no one in history who's ever done that to Deion Sanders. He was too elusive. But Deion Sanders was trying to catch Bo Jackson. And he just went, down. And he took him and he just grilled him. Boom! Yeah, Marcus Dupree. Marcus Dupree was a wide receiver who played for the Dolphins. They called him Super Duper. Is that who you talking about? Super Duper? He's most notorious for the helicopter. Then the dude who played for the Raiders, the wide receiver for the Raiders, he was faster than him. And they would have a sign in the audience said, "Speed kills." And speed does kill. Michael Vick, yeah. Michael Vick is quick and fast. And he's still fast today. He's still quick right now. He's ridiculous. Well, I'm telling you, there are people out there who are afraid of America. And they've seen what, like, there's one dude, a white dude, older dude, played in the Big 12. Oh, I'm thinking of a different dude then. But there's this dude, older guy. He was like 70. That's what I'm saying, man. His dude was like 70 years old. You know what this guy did? He he knew there were UFOs in the sky. So he built a machine. This, I mean, you should see this machine, man. It's on YouTube. He built this machine that had like these tubes, and it looked like a missile silo, thing, like a Sam's missile silo. Well, yeah, but it looked like a surface-to-air missile launcher. I don't. Okay, so the video, I don't know the exact title, but the subject matter is, I think it was people who, uh, shoot, but it was basically people who created things to make the world better, but now they're dead, and all of them are dead. Well, all of them except one, but they killed them off. The one guy. Okay, so I mean, here's how you'll know when you're on the right video. One guy created a thing that can see. Um, he could see UFOs because he knows that they're everywhere. We just don't see them. So he created it, and of course they killed him. Another guy, he was 26. He created a way for the engine to do 100 miles. Um, to do let's see. Okay, so my truck does 16 miles to the gallon. His car was like an old 76, whatever, with a big 305 in it. The rigged his car, it could do 100 miles a gallon. He was like, and any car can do this. I mean, the way he hooked up his exhaust system was he had exhaust pipes running from the engine to the outside of the car into the gas tank. And he says any car can do this. They killed him. There was another guy who created a he said the computer that we're using, he said the chips that we're using, because they feed us these slow chips. They give us these slow chips and overclocking, and then they wait for a couple of months, and then they come out with, it was like 16 came out, then 32, and then a couple of years later you had 256 was the big thing. We all went out and got 256, and then 520 or whatever the heck it was, and then then 1 gig, and 1 gig came out. We lost our money. One 1 gig, I gotta have it. You dropped everything just to get yourself 1 gig, and then your Commodore 64 and all that still ran, still good. I have two Commodore 64s. They're upstairs, floppy disk, 3/4 inch. I still have two of them, and they work. They were. If I cut, what you know, what, I'm gonna do a video on them. I'm gonna turn them on. I'm gonna turn them on. I still have a computer from 2006. I bought it. I still use that computer. I don't even get on the internet with it. I still use it. Still use it every now and then. I'll turn it on. I don't use the internet with it. It's slow, but it's there. You know what I'm saying? And I have two Macs, one 2013, 2016. My 2016 is doing all kind of crazy stuff I don't recognize. I'm just telling you. But this guy said the computers that we're using, he said the 16 or the he says you can get I think you can amplify it. It's okay. I'm not a computer tech guy like that, but he was saying that the chip that we're using. Okay, so if you got a computer that's let's say 1 terabyte, right? This how much memory or whatever, and it moves at, I don't know, whatever speed, including overclocking. So mine has a I don't know. Anyways, but he was saying that the chip itself can make the computers that we're using uh, move exponentially faster. And he was like, this technology is not even hidden. He's like, he's like, if you just did this, that, and the third, he said your computer would move much faster. They killed him because he figured it out. But you know how much money you would lose if that got out worldwide? How much money Apple would lose? Just gone. Gone. And he was saying anyone could do it. Gone. All that money gone. People building their own computers. You don't have to rely on Apple. And then Apple now is looking at all your. Look, man, they done snatched most of my videos. Apple took my videos, and then when I call about it, they hang up on me. They'll talk to me for a few minutes, and when I start complaining about my videos being gone, they hang up on me. They know that they're taking your stuff through iCloud. They know it. They're selecting certain videos and they're snatching it through iCloud. There's videos about it on YouTube. Taking it right off of iCloud. Boom. Don't put nothing up there that's really private. It's over. They got that. Your whole family, they got that. If you put it on iCloud, it's taken. And Apple's the one who took it. Not some dude in some foreign land. Apple. And try to talk to them about it. They're gonna hem and haw, and next thing you know, you're gonna hear radio silence. And then they're gonna send you an email. I'm sorry, we got disconnected. If you'd like to continue this conversation, and then you'll get a whole nother person to talk to, and you gotta explain the whole situation over again, and it's frustrating as hell because they stole all your information. It's true. But this guy figured out how to overclocked, whatever. So but there's another guy who created a substance called Starfall. So if you guys look up Starfall, who created Starfall, you might, if you look up who created Starfall, see who I'm talking about. This guy, I don't believe they killed him. So, and I don't believe they killed him because what he created was not going was not going to cause America and the powers that be to lose a lot of money. This substance was not is not a controlled, substance that's being issued out to us and doled out to us in small increments to keep us in line. This is something he created, and it can't burn. Uh, it can't freeze. And what happened is, of course, the military and the Pentagon got a hold of it, and so they're just going to use it to better whatever. But that's why he isn't dead. Now, if he built something that people are making billions of dollars off of, and was like, you guys don't need to use that to make billions of dollars. Just like some of these car companies that are making cars that run on air, you notice how they never get big deals? Because they can't get a distributor deal. They're not going to make that money because big oil holds them hostage. So who are they going to go to? Toyota, GM? You realize how much money the oil companies are going to lose if all of a sudden every car ran on natural air? You got small car companies, and you hear about them, and they go the way of the dodo bird. They're not making large profits. They're not distributing all over the place. You see them on the internet, and they're going, that's cute, because they're not eating into the bottom line. Let them eat into the bottom line and see if somebody don't destroy one of those factories. Let people all of a sudden go, you know what? I'm not buying any combustible anything. My lawnmower is not going to be combustible. I'm not doing it. I can buy this lawnmower. It runs off of air. See what happens. Anyways, I'm hungry. So I'm about to get something to eat. It's been nice talking to you guys. And God loves you, man. So do I. Keep yourself up. Keep yourself prayed up. Make sure you love the